I speak, Your
No,
Honor?
you can ready to, yeah, you can ready to try to tell me what somebody else said. Go ahead.
Whoever issued the ticket, this is the only thing on my driving record. They say they have to remove it. So that would have to be 36 Court District, Your Honor. I don't know what else to do.
36 District Court didn't issue you a ticket. The person at the Secretary of State should stop giving out legal advice. 36 District Court didn't issue a ticket. Now, the police officer issued you a ticket. And if it's your fault that you didn't pay the $45 reinstatement fee, that's your fault. That's on you. I don't have anything to do with that. When this case first came up, the Secretary of State suspended your license. So tell you go back to the person at the Secretary of State, tell them Judge Bryant said stop giving out legal advice because they don't know what they're talking about. That's number one. Number two, we can't remove nothing from the Secretary of State. That's a state agency. They have requirements and rules. If you don't pay your fees, you can't get your license. They don't have nothing to do with me. In fact, there is a strict rule from the state of Michigan Secretary of State that we cannot even waive the fee. So the person who's telling you that don't know what they're talking about. But let me tell you who know what she's talking about. Me. I've been doing this. Was placed on probation for 12 months back in October. This is his halfway point, but he's not near ready for discharge, Ms. Stevenson. And he tested positive for alcohol in May. And this is his second go round with the probation. He's failed to report in April. He failed to report in April and July. It's not looking good, Ms. Stevenson.
Your Honor, I would agree with that, and so would Mr. Norman. And having had the opportunity to have a kind of frank discussion, he does understand that his freedom at this point is hanging in the balance. We do want to draw the court's attention to those two conditions that Mr. Norman has complied with, Your Honor, in addition to coming to court as he's ordered to do. So he does have some work to do. He does have some time to do it, and he does want to do it instead of going to jail. So I'm asking the court to give Mr. Norman the opportunity to continue to move toward compliance, Your Honor.
This is his second chance. This is at least his second chance. Because they saying back in 2020, he started treatment. This is 2023. This is 2023. So we're not going past October 2023. We're not going past 2023. If Mr. Norman doesn't want to do the probation, we can just do the alternative to the probation. If Mr. Norman fails to report to his probation officer, I'm revoking his probation. As a condition of probation, Mr. Norman, you are to report to probation on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis. On a monthly basis. You are not to consume anything containing alcohol. It looks like I converted fine, costs, and fees except $260 to community service, and you've only completed 17 hours. This is a lot to do. Probation is a lot to do. And the only benefit to the probation is that it keeps you out of jail. I won't say the only benefit because service is the rent we pay for the space we occupy. Everybody should be doing community service. But one of the benefits is that it keeps you out of jail. But if you don't want to do the probation, we're going to go to the alternative to probation. I'm going to set this matter for another review. This is July. That was October. I mean, Ms. Stevenson, he only has 3 months. Let's be realistic.
Yes, Your Honor. I just I didn't want to ask to
3
to
months
push it.
to complete 97 hours of community service, to report every time he's ordered to do so to his probation officer to do the alcohol highway safety, to do outpatient treatment and view the consequences video. He hasn't done that in 9 months, and we think he's gonna do it in 3.
Honestly, I don't, but I do think that rather than asking the court to give me as much time as Mr. Norman needs to fully comply, at least if we get to that October date, I think he would be able to demonstrate to the court that he's ready to do what he needs to do to get this done.
All right, I don't believe it. Mr. Norman, well, you had your hand up.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just having a very hard time, Your Honor. I work the night shift. When I get off at 6 in the morning, I get off at 5 in the morning. The bus doesn't come until 7. And then I have to be to probation by 8. I can't make it. I have to get home to take my child to daycare, and I have to try to get the little rest I can to get back to work. I'm just asking if there's any way you can help me so I get my license. I went to the Secretary of State. I have a vehicle. If I can get my license, it would be much easier for me. Trying to get around with an Uber and the bus routes, the way they run, I just cannot. I cannot, and that's been the holdup. I've been trying and trying and trying.
That's not the holdup. The holdup has been that you did nothing from 2020 to 2022. That was the first holdup. The second holdup is I don't have anything to do with you getting your license. And now that you've fiddled around and waited too long, but certainly if he can't do the few conditions I'm giving him on this doc, he definitely wasn't going to do the conditions in sobriety court in order to get a restricted license. So I'm not the Secretary of State, and I can't give you, I don't have anything to do with the licensing. The fact that you don't have a license, I don't know why you don't have a license. It looked like the license on this case would have been suspended back in 2020. So I don't know why you don't have a license. You need to ask the Secretary of State why you don't have a license.
May I speak, Your Honor?
You can ready to try to tell me what somebody else said. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I went to Secretary of State. They said whoever issued the ticket, this is the only thing on my driving record. They say they have to remove it. So that would have to be 36 court district, Your Honor. I don't know what else to do.
36 district court didn't issue you a ticket. The person at the Secretary of State should stop giving out legal advice. 36 district court didn't issue a ticket. Now the police officer issued you a ticket if they saying whoever issued the ticket. And if it's your fault that you didn't pay the $45 reinstatement fee, that's your fault. That's on you. I don't have anything to do with that. Your license probably got suspended when this thing first came up. When this case first came up, the Secretary of State suspended your license. So tell you go back to the person at the Secretary of State, tell them Judge Bryant said stop giving out legal advice because they don't know what they're talking about. That's number one. Number two, we can't remove nothing from the Secretary of State. That's a state agency. They have requirements and rules. If you don't pay your fees, you can't get your license. They don't have nothing to do with me. In fact, there is a strict rule from the state of Michigan Secretary of State that we cannot even waive the fee. So the person who's telling you that don't know what they're talking about. But let me tell you who know what she's talking about. Me. I've been doing this for a long time. And so you need to go to the window and pay your fees. And then when you pay your fees, it can be lifted from 36 district court. The Secretary of State, as I indicated already, are the only people who, if they choose to, based upon whatever rules they have, can issue you a temporary license, a restricted license, whatever other kind of licenses they issue from the Secretary of State. They didn't teach no class in law school about licenses. They didn't give me any authority about licenses. And the only judge that I know of in this court that can ask for requests or do whatever they got going on with those restricted licenses are the sobriety court judge and people in the sobriety court. Otherwise, that's between you and the Secretary of State. So as I said before, these are the requirements that have to be done. Now, maybe your lawyer, I don't know if they advise on traffic things, but I don't do traffic cases and I don't know the traffic laws like I used to when I was doing traffic cases. What I know is that I have nothing to do with the fact that your license is suspended. What I know is that we didn't issue you a ticket. What I know is that the prosecutor's office issued a complaint against you for drinking and driving. So, and what I know is that the prosecutor's office has nothing to do with reinstating licenses. So that sounds like somebody at the Secretary of State don't know what they're talking about. Nonetheless, you could pay your $260. Miss Sealman, does the $260 include, because his fees for me should only be $210 if I did what I normally do. Nonetheless, the $260, does that include his reinstatement fee to the Secretary of State?
Let's check. Let's see. It's on here, so yes, I do.
Yeah, so what they should have told you is pay your money, pay your reinstatement fee, and then you can get your case reinstated. I mean, you can get your license reinstated.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes, go ahead.
So I actually did make a payment of $300. Do you guys see that?
When?
That was last month. I came down to 36 for, not last month, the last time I seen Mr. Bradfield. So last month sometime. And I came down there, I tested, and I paid $300 at the window.
Miss Ritter? I mean, not Miss Ritter.
He's correct, Your Honor. June 12th.
So why didn't his balance go to zero then? Does he have other cases at the 36th District Court?
He has a balance of $260.
Right, but why? I converted 97 hours to community service. Why would he have a $260 balance if he paid $300? What was his amount? And he's only on a 12-month probation. That math that's not mathing up.
And they got it on here, but I don't think they wrote it in the body of the register of action, but I don't believe they actually took it off. So that's probably why.
When you say they wrote it in the body, you talking about the community service conversion?
Right. They wrote it on here. I see it. It says convert $970 of the balance to $97 of community service, but they didn't go inside and actually take the money out.
Can you take the money out?
Yeah, let me. I'll print it out.
So $45 of that money goes to the Secretary of State, and they should be able to give you a license.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And tell them you're gonna go back to the same person. He like, Judge, I'm gonna just stand in line, and when they call me up there, that's who I'm going to. I'm not asking for the person. No, I know. All right. So now that you can go get your license, if this is the only thing that you have, like they said, and now we're gonna send them their $45, and they are gonna reinstate your license, right? Are you gonna finish this probation so I don't have to put you in jail, and then you can't take your kids to daycare and all of that stuff?
Yes, Your Honor. And all my intent to get this over with.
Okay, and then stop drinking.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm glad we had this talk, Mr. Norman. Let's continue you to the final review, but I need you to pick it up. I need you to pick it up. October 26th. October 26th, the clerk is changing the information. And so the money that you paid, it will go towards your reinstatement fee to the Secretary of State. And they will reinstate your license, okay?
One more question, Your Honor.
Yes,
I do appreciate you helping with the community service, but being that I put 300, is it still 97 hours I have to complete, or?
no, it'll go down by 4 hours. Let's see. You paid 300, how much did you pay?
300, Your Honor.
So the 210 was the mandatory cost. So that's $80 left, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
It'll go down by 8 hours. So now you have to do 89 hours. And then here's the thing. So Mr. Norman, because I don't want to put you in jail. I promise you I don't like them. If you need less community service, if when you get your license back, that help you go to work easier, and that even though the gas is high, that might be more expensive than riding the bus. If you are able to pay some of the money, then I will strongly consider, as long as you have stepped up your game, I will strongly consider playing ping pong. What do I mean by that? Turning the community service, some of the community service back into money. If you feel like you could pay versus, but you have to have completed. Only way I'll consider that, you have to have completed the alcohol safety. You have to have either gotten back in treatment or gotten a letter from the people saying you don't need treatment. You've already paid your court balance. And so I'm going to make a note. So you at least have, and you have had to view the consequences video. So if you've done those things, I'll consider, if you want to let you pay instead of finish the community service, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. But I bet I'm writing a note because I'll swear that I didn't say it. So let me write this note. All right. Anything further? So we're going to continue him to October the 26th at 10 o'clock.